want to turn to an interview last month Vice President Pence did, repeatedly refusing to say the climate crisis is a threat to the United States. He was interviewed by CNN's Jake Tapper.
Do you think human-induced climate emergency is a threat to the United States?
Well, what I will tell you is that we'll always follow the science on that in this administration.
The science says it is.
But what we won't do, and the Clean Power Plan was all about that, was hamstringing energy in this country, raising the costs of utility rates for working families across this country.
But is it a threat?
While other nations like China and India do absolutely nothing or make illusory promises decades down the road to deal with it. You know, the truth of the matter is, with the advent of natural gas, with the natural gas explosion that's developing, with clean coal technology, we're seeing a significant reduction in carbon emissions all across this country.
But is what people are calling a climate emergency, is it a threat? Do you think it's a threat? Man-made climate emergency is a threat?
I think the answer to that is going to be based upon the science.
Well, the science says yes. I'm asking you what you think.
There's many in the science that...
The science community in your own administration, at NOAA, at the DNI, they all say it's a threat.
Look, what the president has said, what we've said is that we are not going to raise utility rates.
So you don't think it's a threat, is all I'm saying. You don't think it's a threat.
I think we're making great progress reducing carbon emissions. America has the cleanest air and water in the world. We'll continue to use market forces.
We don't have the cleanest air and water in the world. We don't. Will you get back to me with some statistics to show
We're making progress on reducing carbon emissions.
There is the Vice President of the United States refusing to say climate change, that the climate crisis is a threat.
The Vice President's denial is a problem. However, his denial is in the same vein as us who are wasteful in our daily activities. We live like there's no end to what we partake in. Look at how big our landfills are, that's filled with countless tons of things that could have been used. We are no better than his denial.
We're processing over 1.2 million tonnes of waste per annum. Operating efficiently and at the top of its game is extremely important. One reason why we chose Caterpillar
is the way we live in direct alignment with his denial. Because what else on earth besides the earth can we waste up and dirty up and neglect without it dying or being destroyed? Our bodies can only stand so much of that. Our cars can only take so much abuse. And we know the earth is invincible, but what else? What else can't be affected by abuse? As a matter of fact, you'd have to think that the earth can't be abused. Anything and everybody on the earth and in the earth can be abused but the earth itself. So what else on earth or in the earth is impervious?
You cannot, the kids cannot do what they can't.
Tell you what we're going to do.
Safe when they're in here. So let me show you the browser on here. The browser is it's called the Maxthon Kid Safe browser.
And it is an internet browser.
Yes, this is all Wi-Fi. And what it does is you know that your child is safe because what it does is anything that is preloaded on here is kid friendly. Mom and dad have to access. See, look at I'll just show you here. If you want to add another internet website, you have to have a password.
Okay.
But mom and dad want them to be safe. They want them to do, everything on. But, it's...
You okay? Okay. What it does is it gives...
How he just kept on selling. Now, we could look at our big corporations that way, or the elite, or the 1%. But while we're looking at them as the guy who was more focused on his product, let's consider who he was talking to. Us. That's how we treat the world, buying and consuming while all hell breaks loose around us. As long as we get our stuff, while somebody else could be starving to death somewhere else. Someone could be working in conditions one step above being in actual slavery, but we don't care. We just want the shoes they made. Or we just want the chocolate that they picked. So we are no different than the guy who kept on selling.
Then we'll start again on the left hand and... Feed me. I beg your pardon?
Feed me.
Tui, You talked and you said...
Feed me, Carbon! Feed me now!
I can't.
I'm starving!
I don't want to hear this.
Feed me!
Does it have to be human?
Feed me!
Does it have to be mine?
Feed me!
Where am I supposed to get it?
Feed me, Seymour.
Like the plant, Archery from the Little Shop of Horrors. There is a problem. Then there is the problem. The problem are the ones we see as globalists or the elite or the 1% or the Illuminati or the imperialist. The problem has many names. Now, the problem is us. Seymour, who fed the plant, grew the plant, but didn't understand when Audrey turned on him and demanded more.
Look, maybe I can squeeze a little more out of this one.
More!
There isn't any more. What do you want me to do, slit my wrists? Oh, boy.
The talk of the imperialist and the other names that it goes by. I'm doing this commentary because it's not likely that we'll ever get close to any of these people. And a long while back, I used a clip of a guy who shot up the White House. After I played that clip, I asked, what if he had miraculously hit the president? Then what? The vice president steps in, and it's back to business as usual, more than likely. You see how somebody just left this baby like this? And this is why I wanted to make sure that we can see us. Because whoever these people are, the 1%, the elite, some people think that they're not even human. But whoever or whatever they are, they work off of us. The stuff we want, or the things we don't care about, like other people. As long as I can get my Nestle's Crunch, who cares? As long as I can get my chili peppers, who cares? The ones we see as a threat to us, we are just like them in a big way.
You in trouble now! You don't know what you're looking at when you're looking here. You don't know what you're messing with, but I'm gonna tell you straight to me, green mother from outer space. So get off my back, get out my face, 'cause I'm mean and green, and I am bad. Wanna save your skin, boy? You wanna save your hide?
The internet here. These days you have the coronavirus scare thing going on. And we're seeing things being shut down. And I figure, if not for the corona thing, it'll be something else. It won't be long before they come after our means of mass communication. The biggest form of communications we've ever had in our own hands. The Denver Airport mural. The wall that describes the doomsday plan of the imperialists. Two things that caught my attention the most. One of them was the executioner of humanity. Then after it was mission complete, whatever used the executioner killed it. Another thing that caught my attention more than that.
The second fresco in the Bank of America's lobby is an apocalyptic concentration camp. Notice the person wearing the white hazard protection gear. The hazard protection gear symbolizes a pandemic, biochemical, or nuclear warfare. All races and creeds are caught in the net of riots and protests, including a Catholic bishop, a nun, and a handcuffed man. The protest signs are blank, implying they have no voice. The street signs are also blank, implying there is nowhere to go.
Where there might come a day where our voices won't be heard, where protesting and such will be for nothing. We have the internet here, but we waste time with it. So the point, the guy who shot up the White House, we'll never get close to these people. So when will we start to use this internet to actually become a threat instead of the assets we are now? Why do I bring up the internet? one example, one of many examples. I see today with the proposed stimulus package, different groups yelling, what about us? Why do they get that, but we don't? Where's ours? Why did they get help anyway? That help should have been mostly ours, or all ours.
Well, we can't be too far off. So if we, It's mine, you understand? Mine! All mine! Get back in there! Down, down, down! Go, go, go! Mine, mine, mine!
This is what we let dominate our means of mass communication. So when will we start to use this internet to actually become a threat instead of being the assets that we are now?